Do you guys happen to have a regular leash, or is that your only leash?
It's our only one.
Okay, so you're going to want to switch to a regular one.
Okay.
Because you're not going to need that.
Yeah. I mean, it disconnects from the collar.
Is that her flat collar?
It's the little.
Oh, it's a prong collar. Okay, yeah.
I think that's too loose.
Yeah, that should be, we'll see once we get started. Because it's usually as snug as possible and then you loosen one. Go backwards. Flip it in. Yeah, like that. Perfect. And the circle one. There you go. And we're going to switch your chain leash with this red leash here.
Okay. Should we keep the prong on or no?
Yeah, you can keep the prong. So you won't clip to the E-collar. If you clip to the E-collar, it'll inhibit contact. So you're just going to remove your chain. There you go. Alrighty, and who's going to work with her? Who's going to be working with her first?
Actually, you, because you stay home with her more.
Okay. And is her collar turned on already? Yeah, it's blue. We'll get a remote here.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I'm going to take this here, and so clockwise goes up, counterclockwise goes down. I'm going to kind of breeze through this because I'm booked back to back today. So here, I'm going to hand this to you. The bumpy button is the one you're going to be pressing when I say the word tap, okay? So we're going to take a look at her here, and we're going to find her working level that we talked about in the video, okay? So tap, 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 okay? No response, let's go to 20. If you land 1921, that's perfectly fine. Tap, tap, tap. No response, 25. Tap, 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 30. And this is normal. Tap, tap, tap. No response. We're at 35. Tap, tap, tap. 40. And tap, tap, tap. Maybe something there. Wait a second. Tap, tap, tap. It's okay for now. Bump it 5. Tap, tap, tap. 50. Tap, 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 tap. Let me see. Check a couple of things here. People friendly?
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, so she's got that dense husky coat. It's okay. And they make special contact points, by the way, that I can send you if you're finding inconsistencies. This is right a little bit. We're gonna try one more snug, because I was at 100 just now, and she didn't feel anything. There you go. Okay, there we go. One second. So what I'm looking for is a twitch. Twitch means we have contact. Okay. So that was 127, and then we didn't get anything. Okay.
We tested the light and everything.
Yeah, no, it's because of her fur. It's with these denser coated dogs, it's not as direct. There it is. See the twitch?
Oh yeah.
That's 107, 58, 80, 94, 102. Okay, I'm gonna dip it down, 49, 62, 83, 71. There it is. See that? 54, 87,
Yeah.
87, 81, 72,
Yeah. I can see her.
82.
Like,
Okay.
eye twitching.
So if you would shoot me an email and just ask me to send you the link to the contact probes, they're meant for dogs with denser coats. With better contact, we shouldn't be at 82. Okay, but if we go lower, if I'm at 53, you see nothing's happening, that means there's no contact. Okay, 65, there's a twitch. 65, right there. 59. There we go.
What's like a normal, usual?
Usually about 25, 35.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it's not because she's stubborn. It's it's just code.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, right there. Okay, so we're gonna just call this 70 her working number. Okay, but the special contact points that they make, they're like winged, and they're meant, since they're thinner, they're able to go through the thick fur. Okay, so I'm gonna hand this to you here. So I'm gonna demonstrate the exercise. Then I'm gonna coach you through it. Okay. So I teach dogs to walk traditionally on the left. Does that work for you?
I like on the right side just because I'm right-handed.
Okay.
I'm stronger on that side.
Sure.
Or if I need to.
Okay, so here, you're gonna have to remind me, well, actually, we should come to a consensus. Right side, left side.
Whatever he wants it is fine.
Okay.
He takes some more.
Okay, so right side. So if I start talking about the left side, just tell me she's trained on the right. So here, every time she gets ahead of you, I'm gonna say turn, and when I say turn, you're gonna 180 turn to the left like this, okay? She passes you, I'm gonna say turn, and she'll go back like this. She passes you, I say turn, back like this. So you should essentially stay within a straight line. The next thing I'm gonna say is tap. Means one press of the button, right? And we're gonna pair these things together. So you're gonna turn, tap, 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 good girl. She's gonna pass you, turn, tap, 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 good. She passes you, turn, tap, 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 good. Okay, remember, keep repeating that process. The last thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna say pull to the right. What that means, if she comes to your left side, as you're walking, you're gonna pull to the right and tap until she goes from the left side over to the right side, okay? So go ahead and position her, so she's on your right, and you're gonna wanna hold leash in right hand.
I might do left just because now I have to hold this thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just flip it. So instead of going to the left, 180 to the right, okay? You're gonna take your leash here. You're gonna take the handle over your left thumb, like that. You're gonna take up some slack, probably about this much here. You're gonna put it over your pointer finger like this, and you're gonna close your hand like this, and then relax, okay? So here, we're gonna give her slack, because she needs slack in order to make mistakes, okay? I'm gonna coach you through it. Actually, go ahead and take up about another 6 inches. Let's see here, and let this part go, like that, perfect, okay? So here, I'm gonna coach you through this. You're gonna make mistakes, don't worry, okay? So go ahead and turn to your right, and relax, and forward. Yep, just walk, and turn, tap, tap. Sharp turn. The 180 turn. Now here, turn right. Yep, tap, keep forward. So you want to do the 180 turn, like this. The complete opposite way. Yeah, like that. Okay? And forward, turn, tap, relax your arm. Good, just keep forward. Turn, tap. Good, keep forward. Turn, tap, tap. Good, keep forward. Slow turn. Good turn, forward. Turn, tap, tap. Good. Turn. Good, forward. Turn, tap, tap, tap. What's your number currently?
71.
Okay, let's go to 78.
78.
Yep, turn, tap, tap, tap. Good, keep forward. Turn, tap, tap, tap. Go to 85. Okay, and turn, forward, good. Turn, tap, tap. You're pressing the bumpy one, right?
Yep.
Okay, turn, tap, tap. There we go, good. Looks like we had lost contact there for a second. Keep forward. Now turn, tap, 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 tap. Good. Turn, tap, tap, tap. Good, keep forward. Good. Yep, just keep straight. Now turn, tap, 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 tap. Good. Turn, tap. Good, keep forward. Now turn, tap, tap. Good. Slow turn right here. Keep forward, good. Tap, good. Turn, tap, tap, tap. Good. Keep forward, tap, tap. Good. And turn, good. Turn, tap, tap. Good. Slow turn. Good turn. Yep, keep forward. Good. Turn, tap, 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 tap. Good. There we go, better. Slow turn. Good, go ahead and pick up your speed a little bit. Tap. Yeah, tap. Good. Pull to your left. Tap. Yeah, great. Yep, keep pulling. Tap. Tap. Good job. Then relax, then turn. Good turn. Power through. Just, yep, go straight. Good job. Keep going straight. Turn. Tap. 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 We're at 88. Okay, and slow turn. Good. Go ahead and pick up your speed a little bit. Relax your arm. Good, slow turn. Tap, tap. Good, now slow walk, keep forward. Slower. And stop. Go ahead and if you want to tie your shoes. All right.
I feel like I got better.
Mm-hmm. Because she's calm now. That's the beauty of discipline.
You're trying to put her head under your coat.
There you go. So here, what did you see change, or what did you see happen?
She knew she had to stay on my side and follow me when I turn.
Mm-hmm.
And go back to this side.
I think I did see her get a little frustrated being on the one side too, though. Because like in the middle of that, she tried to switch.
There's a hook there, by the way, if you want to hang it. I'm sorry, was that last bit?
I felt like she did get a little frustrated being on just the left side, but like towards the middle area, she tried to like cross over in front.
Yeah, so that's from passing. So typically when walking, she's probably like pulling ahead.
She's going everywhere.
Yeah. So that was just residual of like just the habit of always passing.
Yeah.
Not so much about frustration with the left side. What else did you see?
She would get distracted, like look around, and then we would turn. And we press the thing. She'd turn back into her walk with me, taking her attention off of.
Right. So what we're doing here is we gave, what's her name again?
Pepper.
Pepper. We gave Pepper all the options by giving her slack. Okay. So most people tend to shorten the leash and restrict the dog, and that creates more frustration. What I do is I give slack and I go, do what you want to do. But now I have this thing that can override and communicate with you, right? So for Pepper, every time she'd get ahead, it would start tapping. She thinks, I don't like this. She turns around, she's like, oh, Dad's going that way. She catches up, it disappears. And then she passes again, and it goes off. She's like, oh, it's back again. Oh, now Dad's going that way. She catches up, it disappears, right? So what we're teaching her is, every time you feel this, I'm doing something different. So then she starts, and this is why that working number is important, because if we were at like a number that she was barely feeling, you'd still be going back and forth, right? And towards the end, when I said slow, or come to a stop, it allowed her to stop with you, because now she's focused, okay? So all those times you were tapping her, you're telling her you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, okay? So the only thing that's left for her is to be calm and to focus, okay? And this we just ignore, okay? So earlier she shows up, she's overstimulated, she's frustrated, she's very vocal because there are no boundaries. Her brain is unable to turn off, right? Because I think they're in the consultation, she was the same way, right? She was super vocal, yeah. So it's hard to explain to people, but once you see it work, it's like, oh, it does work, right? It's because now you're giving her physicality. But physicality doesn't have to be mean or abusive or forceful, okay? That's just how we think. So here, this is completely non-confrontational, right? I'm not yelling at her. We're not yanking her or anything. We're letting Pepper be Pepper. We're giving her the slack. We have this device, because you can control the power of the contraction, is your intensity, okay? So we're at 80 something because of her fur coat.
Yeah.
But you can see, we had a couple of vocalizations. I'm ignoring it for now just because of the difficulty of getting contact, okay? When you work with her, you'll get an idea of where she's at, and then once we get the adapter, that can also affect things as well, okay? Is here, e-collar should never feel like an argument, okay? That was literally like 5 minutes just now, and it's literally that fast, okay? When you're using it at the correct level. If her number is 85, let's say normally, and I'm at 25, I'm gonna get nowhere because I'm 60 levels away, right? So when we were finding the number, when she felt the twitch and she started to move in closer, that's how I could tell that was the correct number, because she was overcompensating, okay? So earlier you saw the twitch and she was just staring at the dog, she didn't care. And then she saw the twitch and she was kind of like, what's this? And then you saw the twitch and she went, what's that, right? And you want that more concerned, exaggerated movement, because that means it means something to her, okay? So outside, your number could be 105, because you have more stuff to contend with, right? And once you get the adapter, of course, it's gonna change, but that's just to give you an idea that in this kind of environment, we're inside, yes, there's distractions, there's dogs playing, but we're at 88, right? Before we start to see the result. So in the beginning, you were only going a few feet, and now you're able to go the whole stretch. So the only time you're turning is when Pepper gets ahead of you. Okay, so as soon as she gets ahead of you, it's an immediate 180 turn to the right, and you keep tapping until Pepper lines up with you, and then we stop. So that every time it turns off here, it's telling you this is where you need to be. Okay? Questions so far?
I feel like she's already even chilling more with the dogs.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's discipline. Yeah, this is super common. I see it all the time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I never liked this one all the time.
Let's go down to 75. And then give her a little bit of slack, a little bit more. Yeah, it's good right there. Perfect. And go ahead and just start to walk forward. Tap, tap. Let's go down lower. Let's go down to 45. Yeah, there you go. Now slow turn to your right. Good. Good. Now pick up your pace. Pull to your left. There she goes. Good. Yep, keep forward. Tap. There she goes. Good. There it is. Good. See how she came right to his side? Now go in a slow turn. Good. Pull left. Tap. Good. Relax. Good. Going to speed up a little. Good. Pull to your left. Tap. Good. And then slow turn to your right. Good. Go and speed up. Tap. Good. Got a girl. And what you're going to do here is you're going to make a wide turn to your right, and you're going to walk alongside like 4 feet from the pen. Okay. Now forward. Yep. Tap. 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 There she goes. Good. Good. Keep forward. Tap. 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 Good. And slow turn. Good turn. Going to pick up your speed a bit. Good. And then wide turn again. Walk alongside the pen. Keep forward. Good. And you're going to slow walk right here. Slower. Stop. Good. So you see what she did there with the pen? What did you see?
The first slow turn by the pen, I feel like she wasn't paying attention at all. She did make a little bit of a look, but not like anything crazy.
Right. And then he tapped, and what did you see her do?
She ran right.
Yeah, right to the left leg. So what she's learning is when you feel this, come here. Okay? So that's why it's important. So most people, when they try to teach the heel, they'll like yank the dog and tell them no, and then try to pull them back. It's the worst way to teach heel, because for the dog, in my opinion, for the dog, when they jump back and they look at you because of the correction, they can't decipher why, because you're going in the same direction. Okay, so here, that's why she goes one way, you go the other way, because it's stupid obvious, right? That when she feels this, she's like, hey, what's going on? Oh, you're going that way, and she catches up, it disappears. And we keep repeating that. So then she thinks tap means come to the left side. So right there, she got distracted. She started to like sniff or something, and you tapped, and right away, boom, over to your hip. And we're at 45, right? 45. So what happens is a couple things. One, we have good connection now. So when I saw the 75 hit, and she winced, right? Is I could tell that she felt the full 75. Whereas earlier, when we were at 88 or whatever, it wasn't the full power. And it could have been because of her coat, not good contact, whatever. We get started with it, but then as it kind of finds its spot, all of a sudden we're getting a bigger response. So then we went down to 45. So if he would have tapped her and he would have kept tapping her and she would have stayed pulling at the fence, 45 is too low. We would have came back maybe 55, and we repeat. And then maybe on 55, boom, she came over. So that tells me, 55 is the answer right now. So there's no concrete answer. It depends on the situation. But you'll start to figure out, like, when she walks past dogs, it's 65. When we're walking in an empty environment, it's 35. When we're at the park and there's a ton of crap going on, it's 85. You're just adjusting to the context. Because for her, when dog logic and human logic aren't the same. So if she's like really engaged in play or something and like really overstimulated, you're going to need more power to get through. Okay. And as you get used to it, you don't even think about it. You just kind of naturally go up and down on the collar, okay? Questions so far about any of this stuff?
Is that her like snoring or something?
No, she's just breathing.
I hear it like a.
Oh, it's probably one of the other dogs. It's Doug over there, most likely.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Which is good, because I don't think I've seen him sleep yet. He's a super anxious dog.
Okay.
So,
No questions. I think it's only been like 5 minutes, but she does seem like she's getting it. And
Is this a good practice drill?
yeah, so the way this works is this is not how you walk her, okay? So part of the problem is, so your dog becomes what you allow them to do. So if it's constant like sniffing and pulling and, even if you're trying to correct her and she's just in her own world, she becomes more like that. Now we're settling her down and saying, hey, these things aren't free-for-alls anymore. Now you have to walk here, okay? So what we're doing is we're teaching Pepper how to calm down and how to shut off, okay? How to turn off that brain, because in order to focus on you, she has to block out all this other stuff. So it allows her to focus here, okay? Same thing for us, right? If we have something that we really need to get done, you have to kind of like just focus and cut out the distractions. Same thing here. So this is what helps dogs relax, because it's teaching her you can be calm even with all this stuff going on. And she doesn't feel like she always has to be jacked up, okay? So even though it can be friendly behavior, it's unhealthy because it has no limitations, okay? So now when you walk with Pepper, what you would do is you'd go outside, start off with the potty break, let her pee and poop first, get that out the way. And then you'd find your working number, like we did here, tapping. And what I did after I took it from you was I went up very quickly. So I was showing you the structured way I approach it. 10, tap, 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 15, 20, right? But we were up at 50 something and there was no contact. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be bigger. This is gonna be a little bit more in depth than I planned. So instead I took the remote and I went like 30, 80, 127 within seconds, okay? Because I'm watching her neck. The contraction tells me I have contact. So if I don't have contact at 80, probably not gonna have contact at 127. And if I do have contact, it's probably not gonna be full power because it's already being inhibited. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's why I established it first and I was shouting out numbers and I was like, oh, 100, 80, 50, oh, nothing, then 70, 75. Is I was going up more drastically because I could see there was no contact. So I was able to just kind of speed that process along. But for you guys, when you take her out after she's pottied, 10, 20, I would go in jumps to 10 because I prefer 30, 40, 50, you start to see the contraction. That only means you have connection, right? 50, 55, 60, 65, and then all of a sudden if you see Pepper go boop, like this, most likely that's the starting working number, okay? So then I start my walk at 65, I do this setup. So this setup allows Pepper or to make mistakes, but not too much slack that it gets tangled in her feet, okay? And you just go for a walk. So now if you start walking, let's say at 65 she comes to your hip and you walk for 10 minutes and she's right there, you don't need to do anything. Just keep going straight, okay? If you need to stop or make a turn, you want to slow down first. So that's why I started saying slow, slower, stop, or slow, slow turn, okay? It's because I could see her focused. So by moving slower, you're giving her the ability or the opportunity to stick to your hip. Does that make sense? Because if you so the abrupt turn like this is if she's not paying attention. You just turn and tap, okay? If she's paying attention, you want to give her the opportunity to turn with you. You slow down. She should slow down too. You slow turn. She should turn with you. Okay. Questions about any of this so far?
No.
Let me think here. We're not using a word here, okay? We're going to use the word heel, but it won't be till next class, okay? Because it forces you to have to use the e-collar. Because what would happen is I would tell people to use the word heel, and then they would say heel, and they would not use the e-collar, okay? So every time Pepper gets ahead of you, so her right shoulder should be parallel to your left leg, okay? So when you're walking, leash is completely slack, Pepper's right here. She's got the concept of what we're doing, okay? Let's say she sees a dog and she starts to pass up. Turn, tap, 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 bring her back to your hip. And if you need to, if it's just a walk, you just go the other way, right? if you're trying to get point A to point B, you would correct her and then slowly turn back to come back this way. Okay, so if you're like trying to walk to the park, you have to do the correction turn, but then if you correction turn, well, now you're walking away from the park, right? So then you would slow down again to start going back in a direction that you're going to earlier. I have my 3 tap or 3 correction rule. So when you're finding your working number, if you don't see a change within that 3rd tap, you want to bump it 10 levels, okay? Once you see you got connection, then I would bump it 5 levels. Once you start the walking process, every time you turn and tap for Pepper, that's 1 correction, okay? So it's turn and tap, turn and tap, turn and tap. On the 3rd correction, if Pepper keeps going, you put it up 5, 10 levels. Then reset your count. Turn and tap, turn and tap, turn and tap. She's still pulling, we bump it again, right? And you keep doing that. And eventually, you might hit 85. Boom, there she is. And then you're just able to walk nonstop for 20 minutes, okay? So you're just trying to find the number that's going to be applicable to the setting that you're in. This is why this week we always start low. You start low, you work your way up. I'm not going to assume that because 85 worked one day, it's going to work the next day because of connection, okay? But let's say every time you walk Pepper, you always go to 75, and after 75, she's always perfect. What would that tell us?
That's her number?
Yes, right? So if we walk her 3 times a day, and we start at 10, and at the end of the walk, we're always at 75, and at 75, she's able to be at your side, no problem. Then at some point, I just start to walk at 75, okay? Because every walk that I've ended at 75, she's perfect. So then, okay, cool. I did this for a week. I know that's her number as opposed to assuming, okay? So next week, when I see you, I'll ask you, and I'll say, like, what's the highest you went? How often did you go there? And you might say something like that where it's like, oh, yeah, Jessie, 75, she's perfect. I go, great. Just start at 75 now, okay? Because she will take the time from 10 to 75 to do whatever she wants before she starts to listen. Okay, because that's how dogs think. They're like, oh, okay, you're at 10 right now? Sure, I'll ignore all this. Oh, 75, now I'll listen. Okay, questions?
I think she's like paying attention more to him. Like,
Yeah, she's been sitting still.
she's like staring at you too, and yeah, she's like focused on what you're doing.
No, that's how this works.
That's crazy. I don't know, it's weird, but it's great.
Well, that's discipline,
Yeah.
you know, but dog discipline is different than human discipline, you know? So that's why physicality, it's looked down upon because of how we think about it. But in their world, it's healthy, it's natural, it's normal. We're the ones that make it bad, you know? So it's not the tool that's bad, it's how you use the tool.
Yeah.
I just did a consult before you guys, and they saw a trainer that uses prong collar and stuff, and they told me what happened. I'm like, yeah, I'm disciplined, and I will correct the dog firmly if needed, but that was wrong. Like, that was not how you go about that, right? It's just how that person used the tool.
Yeah.
So here, with Peppers, we want to see how does this impact her. Okay, so right now you're seeing how this has impacted her day 1. But that's why practicing the heel every day when you walk her is important, because then she's regularly practicing discipline, okay, and structure. And as we start to teach more things, she's going to get more discipline and structure. But in return, you're going to be walking her more. You're going to be taking her out to the park to go play more, right? Because now you have a dog that is a pleasure to go do stuff with, as opposed to like, oh man, she's going to be barking and crying and whining and jumping and nipping, right? So that's what all this gets us. So here, yeah, this is fine. We do have a release word. We use the word break. Break means your job is done, okay? So if you walk with Pepper and she comes to a stop and you decide you want to give her a potty break, you would say break and then lead her to the grass to go pee and poop. Okay, she can sniff, pee, roll around, sniff the ground, be a dog, have a good old time. She's off the clock. But then once we're ready to go, I start walking, tap, 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 boom, she's back to my hip. Now we're working again. Okay, so think of your obedience as clocking in the work. Okay, this week when she feels this, that's what clocks her in. Next week when we use the word heel, you would say heel, and that would clock her in. But we're going to avoid that for now. Okay, the only word you're going to use this week is break. Break means you're clocked out, okay? So I usually do 80% to 80% work to 20% play. So if you did a long 1 hour walk, 45 minutes or whatever would be in a tight structured heel. 15 minutes would be broken up however you'd like, would be break time, pee and poopy a dog. Okay? Because remember, your dog becomes what you allow them to practice. So it's practicing more craziness, she's gonna be more crazy. Dogs are better in smaller chunks. So I would do 3 20-minute walks a day or 4. So if you did 2 and you did 2, that's great. Because smaller chunks allow the dog to process. Okay, so like right now she's processing. She's taking in everything that just happened and kind of just learning from it. Okay? So once she's trained, or she got heel down solid, then you can start doing 1 hour walks and stuff, no problem. Okay. The reason why we do heel here is because walking helps alleviate stress. So any stress that she builds up in response to the collar, she's walking off at the same time. Okay. Plus it helps dogs just learn the concept of pressure on and off. Helps them take discipline and learn how to settle down and shut off the brain without any real confrontation. Okay. Questions?
No.
Okay, let's go over and try another little walk. I'll go ahead and loop that leash around so it's on her, on the outside there. Yeah, like that, perfect. And forward, yep. Good. There you go. Now turn, tap, tap, there we go. Good, slow turn. Good, just keep forward. So the moment we see her pass, we make an immediate 180 turn to the right. Good, now slow wide turn. Good. Good. Yeah, the girl. Go ahead and speed up a little. Then slow to slow turn. Good. Now slow walk, but keep forward. Slower, but keep forward. Good. Go and speed up a little. And then slow to slow turn. Good. And then slow to stop. Like that. Good. Take 5 steps. Good. 3 steps. Good. 1 big step. Good. And forward. Slow turn. Good. Go and speed up. Good. Slow turn. Good, and slow to stop. Excellent. Okay, so right there, that's the level of focus we're looking for, right? Yeah. That's so when I talk, because I use that as an example to explain my style of heel. I take 5, she takes 5. I take 3, she takes 3. I take 1, she takes 1, right? It's literally just teach the dog, pay attention to you, okay? This dog's primary language is body language and physicality, okay? So we got physicality with the collar. Body language is you slowing down and slowing to a stop to allow her to match what you're doing, okay?
And we're stopping.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I just step right away in the street.
Yes. Now, so if you're on an actual walk, super important that you always slow down prior to a turn, prior to a stop. It's just like driving. If you hit your brakes too quick, no warning, what happens? Collision, right? If you just switch lanes without putting your blinkers on or slowing down, you might flip your car or crash into whoever's next to you, right? So we have to communicate with each other to let other drivers know, like, hey, I'm doing something different. Same thing for Peppers here, okay? So your job this week is just this, okay? Don't worry about anything else, just this. 15 minutes and 15 minutes prior and 15 minutes after, you want to have the collar on before you start your training, ideally. Okay, don't just put it on and start training, because we're trying to add a bit of a gap so that she doesn't think right away when it's on, it's going to start. If you're going to take her to a dog park to go play with dog friends, she can have the collar on, and I advise that you leave it on so that she starts to associate like, oh, I get to do fun stuff with the collar on as well. But do not use it to try to call her back, and do not use it this week to try to stop behaviors. Okay, you're only going to use it for leash walking. 3 to 4 20-minute walks a day or 15-minute walks is ideal. Once you start this process, you're committed. Okay, don't worry about how far you go. Worry about how tight is she walking at your hip. So if you only make it a block, but the entire block she's here, perfect. Okay, eventually it's going to build, and you're going to just start walking her no problem. Because it's not the movement that's exercise. It's all the structure and the discipline up here. Okay. If you start to walk and you run out of time and you need to get home, just come to a stop. She should stop with you. Peppers break, and then you go. Okay. She's probably going to pull you. It's okay, because you've ended the exercise. So remember, it's clocking in, clocking out. So you've said like, hey, you know what? I know we started working, but I got to clock you out right now because I'm running out of time, right? So let's go break. It's not going to affect your training. What will affect your training is if you start the process, but then she starts to pull, and then you give up, and you go, okay, whatever, it's not working, right? And you just let her, you just give in. So now she learns, oh, if I do this enough, you'll give me what I want, okay? Almost always, if the dog's not listening, it's the number, okay? I'm gonna give you the leniency of her coat in the beginning. So if you're 80, 90 or whatever, just keep going up. If you're at 127 and we see nothing happening, take off the collar, readjust like I did, put it on, and then you can actually, I would leave this on and mark it if you have, actually I might have one here, nail polish, so that you use the same spot for next time. Okay, here we go. That's your notch right there. Okay. So, questions?
No, I think we're good for this week.
Okay. If you have anything, well, one, email me for the adapter, please.
Yes,
Because I have 3 more right after you. If anything pops up during the week, just shoot me an email. But this is all you're going to do. And then if you start to see an aversion to the collar, which I don't think you will, because she's actually taking to it really well. She's not shaking. She's not excessively panting or anything like that. She's taking the discipline and going like, oh, okay, like this just means business. So the more you walk her and expose her, the more confident she's going to get in what it means. But if you start to see an aversion, like she's like shying away from it or whatever, don't feel bad about it. Always be neutral or upbeat. Okay, we're going for a walk. Come on, girl. Put it on, even if she's like, no. Right? Because if you start to go like, oh, I know, sweetie, but I don't. It's time to train. She's gonna go like, well, if you don't like it, I'm not gonna like it. Okay. You can also use positive with this. When you bring it out, piece of chicken or whatever, put it on. Piece of cheese. When you go to take it off, grab it. Treat. Take it off. Treat. Okay. And you repeat that every time you do so, and she'll get over it. Once she starts to get exposed more and walk more, that tends to balance things out. Well, last thing would be when she sees dogs on the sidewalk, does she get reactive or overly friendly or excited?
yeah.
Okay.
If they're on the same side of the same sidewalk.
What you're gonna do for this week is when you have empty space, you're gonna have the leash short. You're gonna have the leash slack like I showed you. Okay. When you see a dog approaching, what I'm gonna have you do for this week is simply step aside and then shorten your leash. Okay. So go ahead and pull up on your leash right here. Pull up. Yeah, like that. And now shorten it again. Good. And then like that, right? So here, if she happens to sit, great. But exactly like that, okay? So go ahead and relax your arm, how you had it before. but hold the leash like you had it before, like that, perfect, and relax. Short, not tight, okay? Because if she sees a dog and you start to pull back like this, you're gonna amplify. I wanna see how does this impact her behavior. If she becomes reactive or starts barking or lunging, just simply pull straight up. Don't do anything with your remote yet, okay? We're gonna see how she does. Chances are you're not gonna see some barking or lunging because of what we just did, okay? But if you come back next week, you're like, hey Jesse, 80% better with the dog stuff. I go, great. That leaves 20%, okay? And then we'll work on that. But we want to see what this fixes, so only use the remote or the e-collar for the leash walking exercise, okay? Questions?
No.
Awesome, good. I focused on him today because we're tight on time, but we were able to get what I need to get done, okay? So if you have any questions during the week, just shoot me an email.
Of course. I'll send you an email like on the drive home right now. So
Yeah.
about the adapters.
Yeah.